How's everybody doing? Give it a couple minutes, let others join. This won't take long. Hope everybody's doing well. Wendy, how you doing? Alejandro, how you doing? Okay, so I should turn this on a little bit. There we go. Oh, look, there's a face. Okay. Batman, how you doing? I love it. Man, I don't know about you, but it's a little warm in California where I'm at. It started to cool down for a little bit, but it definitely got hot. We're gonna give it a couple of minutes because I told everybody to be on by 8 or 5:30, and I'm on a little bit early. This gives me time to shoot the shit with you guys. Ooh, nice cold beer always sounds good. New York City. How's it doing over there in New York? Go crazy with your communist guy, huh? Or your socialist? How you feel about the socialist trying to be governor? Ooh, Texas. I might go to Texas or Oklahoma. I know I've been talking about that, but I'm actually reaching out to people who live in those territories and ask some questions about it. I'm going to go out to Oklahoma and visit, I think, and check it out. There's a place called, what's it called? Gent? Is that what it said called? Let me look at that real quick. Hold on. I'll tell you what it's called. It looks like a real nice neighborhood. People from Oklahoma probably know it way better than I do, but I'll tell you. Jenks, Jenks. It's like a real nice place over there in Oklahoma. But I'm not a big fan of tornadoes. I can deal with earthquakes, but tornadoes and stuff like that, yeah, I'm not too sure about, you know. Sorry, we see me looking over this. I got a damn light right here. I got to switch it over here so it stops doing that. Okay, so look, I'll just talk about a couple of things before I get into the real good stuff about Iraq. You know, I've been releasing videos trying to show people, look, there are a lot of good things happening in Iraq. Some things I'm a little nervous about. The fact that, you know, the last American soldier is getting ready to be pulled out here in September. and with good reason. We have still pockets of ICE members, very small. We don't hear a lot about them, but the fact that there's any terrorist group out there just waiting for the United States to leave, you know, I just hope that Iraq can hold their own. You know what I mean? And protect themselves from any kind of takeover of, like they had last time with ISIS going in and establishing the caliphate. But the ISIS members had a lot of help from Obama funding them, providing Toyotas and arming them. So without Obama doing that, without USAID funding them, we probably won't have those issues anymore. That's the only good thing about it. Arizona, man, it's got to be hot as hell right now. I used to live over there in Arizona. I lived in Phoenix and Tucson, on and off. My father, when we were kids, we used to just wash out the trash can, fill it up with water, and just stand in it. People used to think we were crazy, but it's just it's too damn hot. Louisiana, that's not too far. That's the cool thing I think about, the area that I'm thinking about, possibly in Oklahoma or maybe even the top of Texas. If not, then it's most likely going to be in Austin, just because they have a lot of Joe Rogan's there. There's a lot of great comedy clubs there. Not to mention, there's poker house there that I like too. Concept, hoping for the Dinar thing to happen. I think we all are. I mean, if it happens the way we all hope, it could be a life changer. I just like to do what I can to keep people grounded because I don't want people to get crazy. I know you keep hearing somebody tell you that it's already happened, that they're exchanging the dinar one for one with the CBDC. You guys got to be very careful of that shit, okay? Because it's easy to get caught up in it. I understand that. But there's no evidence of that whatsoever. Not at all. And what's the other thing I hear? Oh, yeah, the Iraqis now have more purchasing power. That's the other thing I hear all the time. It's like, no, that's none of that is true, you guys. None of that is true. I could prove it all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. That's all bullshit. It is not because I want to sit around and pee in people's Wheaties, because that's just the truth. It's not happening. All right, we got about 5 more minutes here. Let's see here. I told everybody I'd be on at 5:30. I came on a little early because usually it takes me a while to screw around with how to set this thing up. It really does. And when I started to do it, I was like, well, I got it quicker this time. So Lake Charles, huh? Where all the casinos are. Heck, it doesn't, well, on the map, it doesn't look very far. Las Vegas from parts of Oklahoma or the top of Texas. Yeah, the whole thing about tornadoes, they worry me a little bit. People are like, oh, what about the earthquakes? I go, yeah, but the earthquakes don't scare me, not at all. Austin is a great town, huh? Yeah, my brother has been lately on this kick because him and my sister moved out there, a while ago, and they've been trying to talk me on it. How my brother tries to get me um excited about moving out to Texas. Every time he walks in the store, buys a gun, he comes out and shows me a picture. I go, look, I didn't have to fill out no paperwork, and there's no waiting for it. I was like, gosh, dang. I live in Commie, California, so we have to go through hoops just to buy a gun. And I think I talked to Melissa today. I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she lives in Oklahoma. She says they don't have carrying permits. You don't need to. You just carry a gun. And I was like, well, it seems pretty safe to me. I like it. But my brother's latest kick is he lives next to one of the major Texas college football places. You know what I'm talking about? And he's like, he loves going there because the college environment for football games is huge over there. And so in Texas, that is. And he said, you'll love it. It's great. Everybody gets along. The football for college people is a way different experience than the professionals. And that's the truth. All right, here, we're going to give a couple more minutes and I'll get right into the news because this is big news about the Iraqi dinar, I think, that we need to go over. Yeah, if it happens, it happens. Yeah, that's why I tell people, look, you know, this it's been going on for like 20 years. A lot of these on and off, a lot of these content creators before it's on message boards, they don't went on to YouTube where these people are just telling you it's gonna happen. My contact tells me it's gonna happen this week. And the thing that sucks about that and why I complain about that all the time is this: you do that enough time, people get excited. After a while, they get burnt out of it, and then they get pissy about it. Then you got people going, "Oh, it's fake. It's never going to work." You know, they feel let down, and I understand that. That's why this is a grounded channel. Heck, there's a lot of people paying money for Patreon groups and Zoom calls. By the time you get done adding up all the money you've paid over the years you've been doing this, how the when a dinar hits, you spent all your money on these Zoom calls that are worthless. They're not going to tell you anything that isn't being told for free right here in this channel. You come here, you get it for free. See what I'm saying? Yeah, it's big news, all right. All right, we're gonna get started here in just a couple more minutes. Sorry about this. I didn't realize I can actually get on so early. I was excited. I was like, oh, I beat my time. Texas people, I think anybody that's a true constitutionalist loves their guns, all right? With all this shit that's been going on in this government, whether you hate Trump, like Trump, hate Biden, like Biden, let's just be honest. Both groups feel like the other group is really out of control. And so it's just a matter of time. They're pushing for it. They really, you got what that Maxine Waters saying they want a civil war. You guys don't want a civil war. You people are the supporters of trans people, and you're anti-gun. And I can only imagine what your soldiers are going to look like chasing after people who are Trump supporting constitutionalists. It just is going to be one-sided ass whipping, in my opinion. You heard about the term "country boy cancer"? I don't think I ever heard that. I was telling people the other day they thought I was bullshitting, but Iraq has one of the best cancer treatment centers of anywhere in the world, and their services for free. There are a lot of people who fly into Iraq just to go to their cancer centers. And when I know I did a video about it, but it was a while back. Maybe I'll look it up again and let you guys know. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. All right, okay. So, look, people think I pick on Mel. Well, I do. Let's be honest. All right, I don't like her. I don't like her at all. And it's not personal. It's just that anybody that invokes God, claim to be doing shit for God when you're not, it's really upsetting to me. I don't like that. As a person who's a strong believer in God, people using God to try to con people out of money, I don't like. But more to the point, she lies and misleads people. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now. All right. What are you told? Right now, the Iraqi people are going into their bank and doing what? They're exchanging their dinar one for a central bank digital currency, and they're getting more purchasing power. Isn't that what you guys are being told? Yes, that's what you're being told. And I'm going to share something with you, okay? Can you guys see that? You see that? Cue it. I'm a number one fan. Okay, look at this. The Economist predicts the next government will change the dollar exchange rate and explains the reasons. Of course, when I first saw this, I got excited to read on. Economists expect the next government to resort to an official devaluation of the Iraqi dinar against the US dollar. They're going to devalue the dollar. Now, this is not set in stone before people start pulling their hair out. This is what an economist is expecting. Okay? The reason is, remember, I told people in the videos, Iraq has to average $84 a barrel in order for them to cover their budget for the year. And they're nowhere near that. And they're going to end up with a deficit. As a potential solution to addressing mounting financial burdens, most notably the massive government payrolls. The salary bill accounts for the largest portion of oil revenues, leaving little for upgrading infrastructure or basic services. So they're stretched real thin right now. Well, how come they're not saying in here that they're going to the bank and exchanging their dinars one for one for a central bank digital currency? That would be in here, you guys. And they don't have more purchasing power. This is what I'm talking about. So this economist believes that devaluing the currency will provide greater financial revenues in dinars, which will help the government cover salary expenses. He added that this option may be one of the necessary measures that the new government may take, especially in light of current oil prices that threaten to close the country's economic development prospects. Experts emphasize that sustainable solutions lie in diversifying sources of public revenues and not relying entirely on oil in order to ensure the stability of Iraqi economy in the long terms. And I said that several times. Iraq has got to do something about not relying on oil so much. The crazy thing is Kuwait, about 94% of their budget is reliant on oil sales. But they also have a sovereign fund I spoke about many times. So they have at least a safety net to fall back on. Okay. So you can see here, the economist is anticipating a devaluation of the dinar. He didn't say they were doing it. He's just saying they anticipate the next government. Now, the part I don't like is him saying the next government. I mean, technically speaking, after the election, there will be a new government. But you're hoping that al-Sudani is still the big dog there. So you see these stories about Iraqi dinar being changed one for one for a central bank digital currency. It's just all bullshit. And, I got my hair. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. It's getting out of control. So this is all bullshit. So when I come along, it's not that I'm picking on her. I'm pointing something out to you guys. And then later on, it gets into me picking on her. But, even so, because if God's really talking to somebody, would God be giving them wrong information? It would seem to me that God would say, hey, wait a minute. You're telling people wrong. You should make that correction. The fact that she actually does not have discernment is why she doesn't know about this, or why she hasn't learned anything, or she knows she's lying to you or misleading you, but still does it anyways. That's not a godly person, you guys. Come on now. And a lot of people going, well, she talks to God. We all talk to God. Okay, most people do. Some people hear back. She doesn't hear back. She's a bad person, you guys. That's all I'm saying is she's ripping a lot of people off. And when I found out you guys are paying $100 a Zoom, I jokingly said, I'm doing this all wrong. All I have to do is just make bullshit up, man. I'm grateful that I'm not a con person like that. I make a shit ton of money off of everybody. I'm a better storyteller than any of them. That's the honest to God truth. But I don't do that. I'm going to tell you my opinion, and mine's an educated opinion, not guessing or making shit up. I'll tell you the honest to God opinion. And not try to mislead you guys. I don't like that. I don't like when people do that. There's a lot of people out there that are in real need of money, and they're hoping that the Iraqi dinar saves them. And I absolutely get that. And when that one person committed suicide, that used to listen to, what's his name? Simon, remember that guy? The Q people, and this guy was a collector in the dinar. This guy committed suicide because he was depressed. Because they kept saying, it's going to happen this week. It's going to happen this week. And it never happened. That's why I'm saying you guys got to be very careful. You know what I mean? Oh, Mike Penny, is that his name? Man, I never did find out the person's name. So if that's Mike Penny, thanks for letting me know. I didn't know his name, and now I know. God bless him and his family. I pray for that guy. Wow, that's sad. That's why you guys got to be very careful about really putting all your beliefs in the bullshit that they're telling you, okay? Just listen to what everybody's saying. Listen with a grain of salt. And if you people really are, if you have a relationship with God, God will give you discernment. You'll start figuring out who's full of shit and who's not, all right? It's important to have that, especially with these people that you're listening to. Because last week people kept saying, well, so-and-so saying it's going to happen this weekend. They know for sure. I was like, I don't like that. Another person's like, well, so did so-and-so. What happens is one guru will say something. The fact they don't do no research they truly don't. You can tell because they regurgitate each other's bullshit. One person will say it, then all of a sudden they go, "Oh, I heard from so and so. So and so is saying this, so it's going to happen this weekend." There's no originality there. You truly couldn't just tune into one of them, and you're basically getting the same bullshit outside of the fluff. You know what I mean? They have their own spins and fluffs on Iraqi dinar. That's why I just want you guys to be careful. Okay, so that is the news. I just want to let you guys know this is what I'm talking about. Now they're talking about a devaluation. It's just talk. They've been talking about this for a while. What'd you say? That's not who it was. Penny was a Q-tard who recently died of. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought that was you were saying that's who Penny was a guy who killed himself. Yeah, mix up there, but either way, you know what I mean. So I know you guys have, for the last couple of weeks, a lot of videos have come out. I don't know why you call these guys gurus. Who came up with that name? You understand that guru means teacher. None of them are teaching you shit. Not a damn thing outside of this channel. And I'm not just bragging to pat myself on the back. I literally go through, take paperwork out, and try to educate people on a lot of my videos. Going, look, you need this. It's not a matter of just pulling a wine out of your ass, sprinkling some unicorn pixie dust, and making the dinar increase in value. There's a lot of things to take in consideration when coming up with a value of a currency. And people are not explaining that to you. So that's why I took the time to do that. It's like all the things I educate people on. Well, the ISO 222, yeah, okay, so what? It's a messaging board. That's all it is, a messaging board. What's it got to do with IQD? Oh, the military is telling us that. And what's the military got to do with the IQD? Nothing, not a damn thing. Even if you had military, intel, who gives a shit? They don't know anything about the IQD. The Central Bank of Iraq knows about the IQD. High-ranking government officials, they'll know about the IQD, but nobody else. The other thing is, oh yeah, well, they can't go into the WHO organization with this low of an exchange rate. Or they can't go into the World Trade Organization with this low of an exchange rate. What the hell are you talking about? Dude, Vietnam is in there, and they got a worse exchange rate than the Iraqi dinar. This is the things I'm talking about. So I go through and try really hard to not tell you guys something, but inform you as we go along and educate you. I show you guys a receipt. I ain't talking about, well, I can't show you where my evidence comes from because the person's under an NDA. I don't do that shit. I'll say, look, let me show you. Here's the paperwork. Here's the article. Here's the news. Things I use to go do my research, I'll share with you. I'm not trying to hide it. We're all on the same boat. We're all trying to get to the same place, man. We are. I think it's funny. People are like, well, Pimpy don't want the IQD to revalue. What the hell are you talking about? I want to snort coke off hookers' asses. I'm just kidding, but you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Seriously? Of course I do. I would love to see them change the exchange rate and leave the zeros on there. That would be the ultimate. The ultimate. But I'm saying to you guys, look, there's other things that could happen. And of course, I'm going to give you guys a good, the bad, and ugly to keep you grounded. And that doesn't make me the most favorite person in the world because people have been lied to for so long, they don't want to hear the truth. So you've seen it. Once again, just let me point it out to you for those who just now joined us. Oh, I closed it. Okay. A new article just came out right now talking about Iraq's next government might have to devalue the Iraqi dinar because they're not getting enough money to pay for all the salaries plus all the different infrastructure they got going on. So they're going to have to devalue the IQD, they think. Again, let me go ahead and make sure we get this correct. The article isn't saying that they're going to. The Economist is saying, in their opinion, the next government is going to have to devalue the Iraqi dinar. And you guys have been told that right now they're exchanging the Iraqi dinar 1-for-1 at the bank, and you get a central bank digital currency, and it's got more of a purchasing power. All that was a lie. Okay? I told you guys, just be careful. Anyways, any questions why you guys got me on? Real quick, go ahead. Now, look, this isn't the first time that articles have come out talking about Iraq devaluing their currency. This isn't the first one, all right? and they haven't done it yet. I'm just saying that you got to bring it to your attention so that you could, at least be aware that you're not, caught off guard. Tier 7, guys? Is that what they're saying? Tier 1, tier 2? There's no tiers. There's nothing like that. There's no tier 1, no tier 2. No, the redemption center is going to be the bank. As soon as they get on the the Forex, then you can go to the bank. And all you do is just take in your currency, no matter how much you have, and just say, hey, I want to go ahead and exchange this for dollars. What they do is they take the dinar, they run it through the that machine. What the hell's that machine? The LaRue machine, right? To make sure that everything is legitimate and that they're not counterfeited dollars. They add up all your dinars and they say, okay, right now they're going to show you what the official exchange rate. And if you accept it, then you make the change right then and there. For most of us, all you do is deposit the Iraqi dinar in your bank, and it just goes straight into your bank. There's no fees, there's no nothing. I'm going to change my Iraqi dinar. They'll exchange it for US dollars, and it just goes right into your bank. Now, of course, if they change the exchange rate and when they don't delete the zeros, and if those dinars become extremely valuable, that's a little bit different. And let me tell you why. Obviously, banks don't carry millions of dollars in the bank, despite the fact that they're a bank, all right? They don't do that. What you normally do is say, I want to make this exchange for this current exchange rate. They'll credit your account the millions of dollars if it goes down this way. They'll allow you access to X amount of these dollars. And then after a week or 2 or 30 days, however long they want to hold it, then you have access to the rest. Does that make sense? But they're not going to give you $2 million to walk out the door. That's not going to happen. So if it does happen where the exchange rate is changed, they keep the zeros on there, and your dinar actually becomes worth millions, you still could go down to the bank. You don't go to no redemption center. There's no 800 numbers. You just take them down to the bank and exchange them. If you got a shit ton of them and you're seriously got millions of dollars coming to you, they're not going to give it to you all one time. There's going to be a little bit of a hold time. Just like if you're cashing a check, they will give you access to a limited amount of it. But for the most part, the bulk of it is going to be put on hold for just a little time. Joe says, what if one or some of your bills turns out to be counterfeited? Then what happens? Well, then you're ass out. They'll tell you. They'll go, this bill or these bills are no good. They've been counterfeited. And they'll confiscate them from you, obviously, because they don't want you to run around with counterfeited bills. Then you're ass out. But they're most likely going to ask you, where did you get these from? So they can try to go after the people who did it. Yeah, if you guys kept your receipt, yeah, make sure you remember or you know how to let people know where you got your dinar from, just in case, okay? Just in case. Now, I got mine from Exchange of America. They are a legitimate company. So I got my receipts from there, but if you got bad bills from them, they'll rectify it. You know what I mean? They'll take care of it. Yeah, you guys don't, when people start, if this happens, they start going, hey, call this 800 number or let's go down to this redemption center. Don't do that. It's most likely a scam, and they'll take those dinars from you. Just go to your bank. That's all you have to do. The bank will give you a cashier's check. Good question, because my understanding is each bank's going to be a little bit different. Now I'm at Wells Fargo, and I did go talk to them for an extended period of time. That's why I found out there's no redemption centers, there's no 800 numbers, it's all bullshit. They're like, no, why would you go through all that? Just bring it here to us. We check to make sure the bills are legit. We tell you how many dinars you have. We tell you what the current exchange rate is. If you agree to it, we go ahead and make the change right then and there. If you are getting millions of dollars, we can't get you all that money right then and there because we won't have it. We'll give you access to some of the money, but the rest will be, you'll have access to the rest later down the line, like a week or 2 down the line. Rev, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I do what I can to keep people informed. The truth, it isn't always very favorable, and people don't always like what I'm saying. But the one thing I won't do is blow smoke up people's ass. I just won't do that, man. I can get overly excited sometimes about some of the news I come across. I mean, the fact that recently, you guys saw this, recently we saw a couple of articles in which they were talking about the exchange rate. Now, what I said in that video was they're talking about it right now, but they didn't say whether they were going to go up or go down. Now this article comes out and says, they're talking about possibly devaluing the currency. Again, they didn't say they were going to do it. They're just saying it's being discussed. Yeah, look, here's one thing that the guy told me from the bank. Let's say you deposit millions of dollars worth of IQD, right? You can set an appointment and they'll order the money from you, or they'll order the money for you. There's a small fee, but let's say you don't want that money in the bank. Let's say you got $10 million. You can actually request some banks that you want that in cash, but you're going to have to fill out a shit ton of paperwork, and they're going to want to know why the hell you're carrying around that amount of money. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know Wells Fargo has that posted on their website that they don't do the Vietnam Dong and IQD at the moment because right now they're not free flowing on the forex and they have restrictions. So on their website they say that. I think the only bank I know that will currently exchange the dinar is Chase Bank, if I remember correctly. But you're only going to get the current exchange rate. You're not going to get some made up exchange rate. They're going to tell you right now it's 1,310 dinars for every dollar. For every 1,310 you give them, they're going to give you $1. Does not mean it will change in the future. Yeah, I mean, look, it's. I remember when Kuwait did theirs. They told people it was not going to revalue for a long time. There's a lot of talk, a lot of chatter about it, and he told people it's not going to happen for a long time. And then he did it like a couple days later. So, I'm not saying that's what these people are doing. They're trying to mislead you because I know people out there going, they're not telling you the truth. They're trying to hide something from you. What the hell is there to hide? Come on now. You guys just common sense. They just don't want you to know about it. Well, why don't they want you to know about it? You know what I mean? That's like people saying, people gets paid to spread bad news about the dinar. Well, who the hell owes me money? Because I'm not going to pay anything. If somebody's supposed to pay me money, where is it at? Can you imagine how many people have called banks about their rate? Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. They got to be sick of it by now. They have got to be sick of it. But that just goes to show you a lot of these people have been misled. And I'm not a big fan of that, man. That's why here I'm going to tell you guys the truth. Doesn't make me the most favorite person in the world, but I'd rather be honest and mislead people. And like I said earlier, I was excited about the fact that they were talking about the exchange rate. There's a lot of reason to believe that. Not only that, an article at the same time came out talking about how they are supporting the Iraqi dinar with a shit ton of gold. And I was like, yeah, that's good. That's good. Look, at one time I did a video proving that they can at least do $1.12 exchange rate. And I showed everybody because there's a formula for it, but what we were missing was the amount of actual Iraqi dinar that was in circulation. Nobody ever had that. And then in an article, they told everybody how much was in circulation because some had been burnt, some was damaged in a flood, a lot of it was stolen, crap like that. So I was like, how much is in circulation? And then the article said, this is how much is in circulation. I go, oh, okay, good. So we took all the foreign reserves they had and the value of all the gold they had at the time, divided it into the amount of Iraqi dinars, and they easily did $1.12. But that won't ever happen because then they would have to give up all their foreign reserve dollars and all their gold in order to cover that exchange rate. Another thing you got to understand is this, because I got people going, why have to fly into Iraq because they're only going to do in-country. No, there's no in-country, out-of-country bullshit. Can you imagine if they did two different rates? Well, out-of-country, you don't get as good of a rate as in-country. You know how many people would flood in Iraq, change for the more valuable money, and turn around and buy more out-of-country, just keep coming in and out? Or if it was the other way around, you got more money out-of-country, people would fly into Iraq, buy the money cheaper, fly out of Iraq and exchange it. That's why I keep telling you, don't believe there's no in country, out of country, guys, because that's what happened, and it totally crashed your economy. Okay, that's why you gotta be careful about the stories that they tell you. Yeah, that there be people at the border going, "Give me a truckload of Iraqi dinar. I'm gonna go exchange it. Then I give you the American dollars. Buy more Iraqi dinar, and we'll become rich." Just do this circle like this. They're not stupid. It's got to be the exchange. Once they make the change, the exchange rate, it's worldwide because that's how it works. Somebody said, "Well, Pimpy said that it's not going to happen until what they say something stupid until it I don't know." And I go, "That's not what I said. What I said was when it shows on the 4x, that's how you know everything is rocking and rolling, not whatever the hell they were trying to say." I love how people start rumors about me. Go ahead, just come here. I could just tell you. Look, I'll tell you the truth. Even if I don't like it, even if I know you're not going to like the truth, I'll still tell you the truth. Okay? Anyways, you guys, I had an article. Let me see if I can pull it up again. I had an article. All right, here we go. I'll share it one more time since some people might not have been here. All right, here's where it is. The Economist predicts the next government will change the dollar exchange rate and explains the reason. Yeah, it sounds good when you first read that until you keep going on. It says economists expect the next government to resort to an official devaluation of the Iraqi dinar. All right, that's not the news we want. So I wanted to come on here and talk to people before people start misleading you and telling you, I know you heard that they're changing it for a central bank digital currency, 1-for-1, and they're getting more purchasing power. That's just a person making shit up like they always do. Okay? You think they can afford some better eyelashes? Just saying. Anyways, you guys, I just want to come on and talk to people and answer any questions that you might have. I think once it goes, I'm gonna call and ask if the bank, credit union, a LaRue machine. Yeah, a LaRue machine. I think most banks have them now. The new LaRue machines not only check for counterfeit ones, but they also count the money while they're doing it. So it's just to make sure that the dollars are good. And then as soon as they tell you how much you have in dinar and what the current exchange rate is, and if you make the exchange, you'll have X amount of dollars, you're good to go. Okay? Anyways, you guys, I appreciate you guys coming over and checking me out and hearing what I have to say. It's not great news, but at the same time, you guys, look, they're just saying, again, I want to make sure you guys understand this. This economist thinks they have to devalue the currency, but this isn't the first time articles like this have come out. Okay? I said this a while back. I said, be careful because they've been talking about devaluing the Iraqi dinar for quite some time. One of the things we want to watch is definitely the price of oil. They need $84 per barrel just to cover their expenses in the budget, and they're nowhere near that. And now to make things even worse is if Trump is successful in coming up with a peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine, and these restrictions that Russia has on the sale of their oil. Now it's going to take some time. It isn't going to happen right away. But if those restrictions are removed and they're allowed to start selling oil again on the open market, that's going to cause oil prices to drop big time. It's good for us because our gas goes down. You know what I mean? But it's bad for the Iraqi dinar. They need to maintain, they're talking about should be somewhere between $65 and $75 on average per barrel. If that's the case, usually Iraq is set somewhere between $65 and $70 for the budget. They need to do a better job of budgeting their money. Okay? Or else they're going to have to keep borrowing and they're going to run a deficit. Right now they're in deficit, and that's why there's talk of a devaluation. Okay? Anyways, that's it for now. I appreciate you guys chiming in. Catch you later. I'm out.